Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So today we are trying out the new Too Faced Dewy. Why is there a hair on my face? It's tickling me. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be trying out the new Too Faced Dewy foundation. This is a full coverage fresh glow foundation infused with juicy watermelon and fresh cucumber. I am so excited to try this, and I know loads of you have been really excited to see me review this and see how it gets on. It has like every claim I could possibly want in a foundation, which is why I was so excited to try it. It claims to be long wearing with a dewy finish, hydrating and brightening. It also says that it smooths, moisturizes and nourishes skin for a flawless, fresh complexion. It's got vitamin C in it. I love Too Faced as the brand. I feel like their base products always perform incredibly. Obviously their concealer is my new all-time fave. I haven't really ever tried the Born This Way. I had a sample once, but it was in such a bad shade that I couldn't really get a good idea. But obviously that's lots of people's holy grail. So I am so excited to try this, and I really hope it lives up to all the claims. So there are 20 shades. I picked up the shade Light Beige because I had seen Trend Mood saying that it really oxidized or dried down a lot darker than the initial swatch. So I was nervous of that. I was also conscious that it is almost September now, and that, you know, come the end of October, my tan will be fading and I'll be going into my winter skin. Light Beige is like my NC25 equivalent, my winter shade. So I was kind of thinking of that as well. It's probably going to dry down darker than Light Beige would start. So I was thinking this would be kind of in between where I am now in the body area and my winter shade. If I was trying to match my body exactly right now, I would have probably gone for the shade Sand, which is 2 or 3 shades up from this one. So yeah, don't think that this is going to be a perfect match for you. You can see it is, my face is like noticeably lighter than my body. So this is not the shade I would recommend if you're a foundation twin, if you know what I mean. Just for those of you from the UK, this is only available in the actual physical London, I think it's Carnaby Street Too Faced pop-up shop. I had to get mine from Too Faced online, and it has taken 2 weeks to get to me, which is actually a week quicker than the concealer took. No issues, very good communication and tracking the whole time, and the delivery was £6, so delivery is actually free. £6 is basically covering like all your import and taxes and stuff, so that you don't get stiffed on arrival into the UK, which I did not. So I wish that delivery time was way quicker and they just had like a UK distributor. 100%. Obviously Too Faced is stocked in lots of places, but they do tend to release their products much later, and obviously this collection is not yet online at places like Debenhams and Cole Beauty where they stock Too Faced. Right, without further ado, let's whack it on my face and see what we think. Okay, so I'm going to start off with priming my skin, and I'm going to use the Guerlain L'or primer, just as I did with the Laura Geller foundation, because as I said then, it's a good primer to put foundation on top of, but it doesn't affect finish, so it doesn't make it more dewy, make it more matte. It doesn't do anything crazy as far as like smoothing or anything like that. So it's just gonna give us a nice base, but it's not gonna help the foundation cheat or anything like that. Apologies if you can hear my daughter in the background. She's insisting on doing some colouring in, aren't you? You're beautiful. So you may hear the odd little snuffle or something, but I have told her that she's not allowed to speak, so you know. So as I said, this shade is too light for me, but yeah, it's fine. And once bronzer and everything is on, like, it will be probably darker than my face, to be honest, but you can see how much darker my body is than my face. So like I said at the beginning, I did try this yesterday, and I 100% recommend using a beauty blender to apply this. I didn't really like how it went on with the brush. I found it left a lot of brush strokes that were tricky to blend out, and just with the brush were never going away. So I 100% recommend going in with a beauty blender. But for the sake of fairness and just in case you guys want to see what I'm talking about, I will still do my usual half brush, half sponge, just so that, you know, you guys don't think I'm lying. So the first thing you notice when you pump this foundation out, so it is a squeezy tube with a pump, which I love. I love this packaging. I think it's mega cute and really handy, very travel friendly and all that good stuff. I love you more than chocolate cake.
I love you more than new love things.
Than what?
New love things.
New love things.
Like these. I said.
Shh, no talking, I said. No more talking. We're gonna be here all day. Okay, so the first thing you notice when you pump this out is the smell. So to me, it's a lovely smell. It is pure watermelon. That's what it smells like to me. And if you do not like the smell of watermelon, this is an immediate leave for you. It's cool. They've said it's a gel cream formula and it pumps out quite thick, but as soon as you sort of put it on, it kind of just starts feeling like water. So just dab onto my Sigma F80 and you can see straight away that this is like probably even lighter than my face actually, which I was obviously expecting it to be like more my winter shade, but I did think it was going to dry down quite a lot darker than it did. Yeah, and I didn't think it would be quite this light. So yeah, as soon as you put it on, it kind of, I feel like there's a lot of like resistance on the brush, you know, and I don't know how well it'll pick it up on camera, but there's quite a bit of brush strokes and it's not bad and you could easily continue with the brush and work them in, but for me, you know, I'm always just kind of in a rush and I don't want to spend, you know, a while trying to get rid of brush strokes when I could just use my beauty blender and not have that problem. Actually, I have just checked the Too Faced website and it specifically says apply with fingertips or a sponge. So clearly they presumably think that it applies better with a sponge as well. So I'm glad that I checked that because that's obviously something that they obviously recommend, that it does perform better with a sponge. It's not just me. So I'd say at this point we're at like kind of a light to medium coverage, which is nice that it's flexible like that. It isn't just like full coverage off the bat. You can kind of tailor it to however you want. So now I'm going to go in on this side with my sponge. Let me just turn the lights down a little bit. And I'm going to go straight in with my sponge. Did you see that? I was assaulted. So I actually think with the sponge you've kind of got more coverage. I'd say like there's definitely like a hair more here and I think I used less. You can still see like my discoloration on my forehead. You can still see some redness. You can definitely see beauty marks. So yeah, I think it's kind of a light to medium at this point, and that was 3 pumps, I think. So the next thing after the smell that I noticed is this feels so hydrating and cooling to put on. It's really lovely. It literally feels like I've had it in the fridge or something. Now this also reminds me, if you saw my review of Max Factor, that when you start building it up, sorry, that's the Max Factor Radiant Lift Foundation. The exact same thing happened with that foundation. When you start building it up, there's a second where you're like, oh, what's happening? It almost starts to look like it's maybe lifting up or something weird's happening. But if you just carry on blending, it goes away and it just melts into the skin. I think you can probably see that it has definitely darkened up from when I first put it on, but there is still quite a difference between my face and my body. So I'd now probably say we're at like a solid medium. I don't know that I'd say it's full, but it is so hard to kind of tell because it is so dewy. This is the dewiest foundation I have ever used. Can you see? That isn't a light, that is how it looks to me in my mirror. It literally looks wet. So because of all that reflection, any kind of discoloration or redness that might still be showing through, it's just you can't see it because it's like there's light beaming off of your face. So it kind of disguises everything, but it looks really smooth. I'm just going to use the rest of what is on my tray just to see if we can get a bit more. I think we're probably pretty much approaching full. I can barely see beauty marks. I can't see redness. If I look for it, I can just about see this discoloration on my forehead. So yeah, I think it's probably medium to full for me, the coverage. Obviously, it's incredibly dewy. Let's do a full on zoom and lights down. It does slightly dry down, but it really does not go particularly any less dewy, and it does take a really long time to dry down. Like yesterday I felt it to see if it felt sticky, and I left like fingerprints in the foundation, like it lifted right off. So I would recommend leaving this to dry down as long as you can. I did check it a few hours later and that didn't happen. So yeah, but I definitely would give it as long as you can without touching your face or anything like that. But you can see it looks so smooth, incredibly dewy, so smooth, really, really hydrating, fresh. It looks like skin, obviously very dewy skin, but it does look like skin, and it feels very comfortable, very hydrating, very refreshing on the skin. I think dry skins will love this. I think oily skins, it will be your worst nightmare. That's just what I'm thinking. I'm gonna go away now, finish the rest of my makeup, and then we'll come back, see how it's looking once it's dried down and how the products worked on top of it, and do a little flash test back in a few. Okay, so we are back, and let me tell you, this foundation is making me feel some kind of way. Like, excuse my rude hair. I feel like as I was doing my makeup, I was just feeling sexier. I was feeling a bit like a Victoria's Secret model in the sea. I was feeling good. I was feeling myself. I feel like I just love dewy skin. This is the dewiest foundation I've ever tried. So I've done my makeup. It's probably been an hour since this went on, and you can see, obviously this is highlight, but you can see how dewy the rest of my skin has stayed. Now, I would definitely recommend, under normal circumstances, setting this with a powder because it's so dewy. We're not going to lose the dewy finish by setting lightly with powder. So if that's what, that's what puts me off, setting with powder. I don't want to lose any dewiness. I don't want to mattify anything. So I feel like, for me, I would just probably leave this most of the time. But if you want it to last longer, if you want it to not get dewier throughout the day, if you have any kind of oily or combo skin, definitely set this with a powder. It will also be much easier and less you'll have to take less care putting products on top. So I used a cream contour today, and it blended in easier than it has ever done before. So I was using my MAC concealer stick. I don't know where it's gone. And I love that stick for contouring. It blends easily, but today especially, it was like seconds, and it was completely just melting into the foundation. It works so nicely. Cream products will be a dream on top of this. But I also I didn't want to give it an easy time, I wanted to see what powder products went like on top of it without me setting it. I just wanted to see, because that's how I usually do my makeup. So what I did is I got my Too Faced Chocolate Girl bronzer, and like I always do if I feel like the foundation might move or it's a bit dewier or it doesn't, it hasn't set itself, I start off just by tapping instead of just going like this. I just start off by tapping, and then once there's a layer, I blend normally. And I was not expecting this, but it did not move at all. There was no issues. I then did a liquid blush today. I used my Daniel Sandler liquid blush. It was this one in the shade Passion, just a tiny bit on a stippling brush, and then I went in with my Natasha Denona Super Glow. Nothing has moved. Let me show you. It looks so beautiful. Definitely probably about a full coverage, I definitely think it has dried down, maybe slightly darker, but no more. Most foundations get slightly darker as they dry down. I don't think this is any more than any other foundation really that I've tried. It looks smooth, it looks beautifully dewy and fresh and natural, and it feels all of those things as well. It still feels very hydrating. On side note, doesn't bother me, but will some people. I can still smell the watermelon, and I actually asked my husband to sort of smell me. He could smell, I think he actually said it smelled like peaches. It doesn't, it's watermelon. But he could actually smell the foundation still now, like an hour later. So if you don't like watermelons, you will not like it. It smells of watermelon. I think it's a lovely smell, but obviously it's not gonna be for everybody. It looks lovely on my forehead. This area that I struggled with, the Laura Geller, looks really good. It has slightly soaked into my smile lines, but definitely not badly at all, and it hasn't done the weird other lines like the Laura Geller did. My whole chin area looks a lot smoother than Laura Geller did. My whole face just looks smooth. I feel like it's taken years off me. So I've taken some flash photos and I've taken some natural daylight photos for those of you interested in that. I don't see any white cast whatsoever, which I guess you would expect. It doesn't have any SPF, but you know, stranger things have happened. So far, this is like exactly what I was hoping for with this foundation. Well, excuse you. Yeah, we are off to a very, very good start. Now, the time right now is 10:40. I'd say it's probably been about 40 minutes since I finished putting my foundation on, like since I've done all my other stuff. So let's say the starting point was 10. So I will be back, giving it at least 8 hours to see how it's wearing. It does claim to be long wearing. I haven't set with powder. I'm not going to use a setting spray. I didn't even use my Fix Plus today because it's so like just luminous and dewy and skin-like. I didn't feel the need, even though I've put powders on, I've put highlight, I've put bronzer on. I feel like they melted in with it rather than sitting on top, so I didn't feel the need for my Fix Plus today. Anyway, I will see you in 8 hours, and everyone cross your fingers and toes that this is still looking good. Hi guys, welcome back. It is now, bear with, 6:17. So we are 8¼ hours into our wear test. And luckily I have pretty good news. So I was really quite tough on this foundation today. I actually have had like a whole day at like a kid's like farm type of place where we've just been running around and playing, and I've been outside this whole time in pretty warm, hot weather. I've also been playing with my kids a lot and doing a lot of like hugging and kissing people hello and goodbye. I've also been eating, drinking, and each way was like an hour journey in which time we had the air conditioning on. So I've given this foundation probably a tougher test than I normally do, and I'm really happy with how it's worn. It still looks mega dewy and luminous and smooth. Remembering that I did not set with powder, only, you know, in the areas where I put my concealer, so I set my concealer in all of the normal places. There is the teensiest bit of wear on my chin. My nose is starting to look a little bit shiny, but that's pretty much it, to be honest. Nothing weird has happened throughout the day. It hasn't separated. There's also like some fading here, which I think is because I sort of gave my dad like a really long like cuddle goodbye, and he's got a big beard, so I think this is the beard's fault. So it's definitely not transfer proof or resistant, which I don't think it claims to be. So let's zoom you in. So yeah, here's that little spot that I think has just been rubbed off by my dad's beard, but you can see we are looking pretty good. Still very dewy, but like no more so than this morning. This is only gonna be for people who want a really dewy foundation. In the center of my forehead here, I did set there because that's where I put my concealer. And I've actually also been wearing sunglasses all day. And you can see here where, you know, your sunglasses sit. There's only a tiny little mark, like much less so than most foundations when I'm wearing shades. It has soaked into my smile lines a little more than it was this morning, but 99% of foundations do that. Obviously you could mattify it down if this is too dewy for you with a powder. I would probably recommend like certainly powdering like the sides of your nose and just this area like around here where you don't want to look shiny. So all in all, I'm very impressed. I'm really disappointed with the shade because it is so light on me at the moment. I don't actually think it looks too bad on camera. I don't know how it will look actually once I've processed everything, but in person it is like a lot lighter than my body. So I'm really sad that I didn't have a darker shade because I feel like I'm either gonna have to mix this, which isn't a problem. I can mix this into some of my other foundations and make them more dewy. It's a nice option to have, but really on its own, this isn't gonna be that wearable for me for like another couple of months, which is a shame because it's too much hassle and too expensive for me to order another shade and wait another 2 weeks. That is sad. I wish this was available like more readily in the UK so that I could have swatched things or got a sample even just to make sure there's the shade, but what can you do? Really hope you found this review helpful, and I'm so sorry for hitting you up with 2 foundation reviews back to back. I would never normally do that, and I will certainly try to never do this again, but I feel like lots of people were really interested in both of those foundations, and I just wanted to get them up as quick as possible to help people with their shades and making a decision whether they want to purchase one of these or neither of them. So as always, any questions, hit me up in the comments if there's anything I didn't answer for you. And please don't forget to hit the subscribe button before you go so I can see you again. Otherwise, take care for now. Bye 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 bye.